Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Jessie. So Jessie, welcome.
Hi.
So Jessie, can you tell us your full type, please?
Yes, I am an ISFA jumper, FM, SITI, sleep, blast, consume, play.
All right, and then what did you think and how did you feel when you got your results back?
Oh, I was shocked because I was typing myself as almost the exact opposite. I was typing myself as like a MF, ENFP, consume, sleep, blast, play. So I got the play right. And that's about it. But yeah, I mean, the concept of me being double introverted was really strange because I don't feel double introverted. And I don't know if that's because like my extroverted functions just feel like they have so much force. And I don't know if like the introverted functions feel like a substrate for all of that, that I'm just constantly like moving around. So I just kind of mistook how much substrate there was, I guess.
Yeah. Well, at least you saw your play last, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not like a super introvert because you do have the blast second.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And oh, well, why don't we go over your parts then? Your lead sleep and your sleep is ST, so you're gonna give reports, I suppose. Can you talk about your experience, being like an ST reporter, like this happened and then this happened and this happened.
Yes. No, that's very much what I think about. It's a sequence of events. It's if I'm telling someone a story in my head, I kind of enjoyed it. There's like a creative factor that I can give to it, but it's still sequential and it's still to lead to like this revelatory thing or just a funny moment or whatever. But yeah, it's very much sensory, not intuitive like I thought. But yeah.
Your sleep is also double feminine, and it's also how you do things is personal, so can you talk about the personal side of doing things but in a double feminine way?
I mean, yeah, I think if I'm understanding it correctly, I think it's very much one, like how I feel about it. Everything's personal to me. They're my stories, my theories, my thoughts on things just over and over and over and over again. That I especially find myself teaching to a fake audience in my head. And yeah, I think you'll have to ask me more questions.
Yeah, no worries. um it's also double activated and it's double feminine. So when you add those layers to it, how does that change things? Do you feel like you forget things that you're processing in your head all the time?
Oh yeah, I process the same things over and over again because I don't remember what it's and it's a bit annoying because it feels like I very much, and this is what I've also wanted to figure out too, is why I feel like I'm so just in the moment. Like I don't really remember much that even happened. Like I couldn't tell you, like my husband can tell me all of our conversations and I don't remember any of them. I mean, I remember like little things about them, but like everything feels very ephemeral. I don't know if that makes sense. Where it just comes and I think about it, then it goes, and then I'll cycle back and looking like through my journals, I'm having the same revelations that I thought were new,
Yeah.
just like over and over again. And it's a little bit like, that's not fair. Like, why am I,
Yeah.
like, what's the point of thinking if I can't, like, if it doesn't stick?
Yeah. Yeah, I get you because my first animal is also double feminine and double activated, so it can be tough with that double feminine, double activated first animal. um all right, so because your SITI is double feminine, it's correlated with competence, so I guess your self identity is tied to competence. But because it's double feminine, do you feel like you're flexible with how you do things? Like if someone were to recommend something, you would be more flexible? Or how do
Yeah,
you?
I even think that like I'm unconsciously flexible where I am um maybe even like tucking my tail under before I want to consider something new. And so, but it is very much about efficiency and making it work and making sure that like it's done the right way. And if someone gives me something new, I want to consider it. But if it doesn't hold water at the end of the day, I'm not going to do it.
I see. Got it.
Yeah.
And then what about your identity being tied to competence? How do you feel about making sure that you know how to do things, and doing it your way?
I have, especially play last, I have a lot of problems working with the tribe if it's not my way. I work way better, like way, way, way better on my own. And even like it's embarrassing even as an adult to be like, I'll like, if I'm forced to do something in a way that I don't think is the best way, I'm like wriggling, like it's super uncomfortable and I'd rather not do it at all. But I definitely pride myself on doing things well. That's like in another typing video was like, what is your best quality? And I was like, I do things well. And like that was it. And I do a good job. And I think I do. I just have to be in the right flow. I have to be in the right mood. I have to want to do it. I have to especially see reasons for doing it. If I don't see reasons for doing it, motivating myself becomes near impossible.
Gotcha. Your blast is SF. It's like the cool factor, or it's also controlling the tribe's behavior, and yours is masculine FE2, so it's going to be very aggressive. Not as aggressive as double masculine SF, of course, but on the aggressive side. Can you talk about telling people how they should behave and manners and all that stuff?
It's all in there. I've definitely tried. I think not even that long ago, I remember writing my sister-in-law an email about how she was being passive aggressive. And I was really kindly trying to be like, these are the reasons why you should not be passive aggressive. It is wrong to be passive aggressive. And as I get older, I'm just like still toning that down and down and down. Cause one, I don't really know how much you can change people. And two, it just doesn't go that well. And instead I'd rather just let people change people. And I think also, I don't know if this works, but being play last, I feel like that's a lot less than it could be. Where I think if I was more outgoing and like out there all the time, I think I would be more of a headache than just thinking like, yes, you're doing that wrong, but I'm not going to tell you type of thing.
Well, I think this is a perfect time to ask you about being self above tribe then. So I think if you were tribe above self, even if you were play last, you would still be doing that. But because you're self above
Interesting.
tribe,
Okay.
I think that you're not, you care more about yourself than what other people are doing. So if people are not on board, you're like, whatever, I don't care. So can you talk about that a little bit, about like being self above tribe, or putting yourself first before other people?
Yeah, in terms of that, like it's definitely like if this thing that I'm going to say is going to get me in trouble or in danger or not liked or ostracized, I'm not saying it. Like even if I think it's a good idea, like that always comes first. And there's always like even though I want to do things well and I want to be seen for doing things well, and I want to, when I blast, I want to do it like very well, there's still but don't stick out too much. Like you protect self, first.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you find that the inner self is very vulnerable because it's double feminine?
I think so. This was really strange being type to thinkers, because I consider myself one of the most emotional, volatile, and reactive persons I know. It just is all inside. I feel extremely sensitive. But my face when I, actually look at it is like most of the time, it's like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I think because I'm so sensitive, so.
Yeah, I think because you have masculine extrovert feeling, you're not as like giggly as people with like feminine DE. No, feminine DE, like me, for example, I tend to like make weird like giggling noise all the time. So it's I don't know. So it's like trying to diffuse the tension, I guess. But like the masculine individuals, maybe they see the tribe as a threat. So I don't know if you could. I don't know. Do you see the tribe?
Yeah. No. I have huge issues with projection, where it's like everything that I'm afraid of, I will project onto you and then think that you're thinking it at me. And so I find myself defending myself before I need to. Like I've gotten a lot better at it, but it's like, don't think this thing about me, and they're not. Instead, it makes them think that thing about me.
Yeah.
Because I was so scared, and kind of like realizing that people are not the mean people I think they are has been helpful.
Oh, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you are aggressive people, of course they're gonna be aggressive back, right? So you're like, and you'll be like, I was right, but then you were right because you made it right. not because
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When did you find out that you were self-projecting, and when did you learn to like, oh, maybe I should tone this down because it's just me. It's not really other people.
That was a lot through the Enneagram. Just seeing getting typed as a 6 blew me away. But like once I saw that, I could see that like I actually don't know what they're thinking, and I am very certain I do, you know. So
It sounds like it's also masculine extrovert intuition, where it's like, you know,
that makes sense.
like the patterns I see, it's real, you know.
Yeah.
But then you didn't use the sensory to validate that first, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm using the sensory now. So
Yeah, which is weird because you're lead sensory, but it's feminine, so
yeah.
it's like it's weird. You're a weird type in a sense, you know, because there's a lot of contradictions happening inside you, you know. Uh,
Yes. That makes
yeah.
sense.
All right. So with extrovert feeling being masculine, do you also follow tribe values? Like you and your family, you have like a sense of value system that you follow, and you tend to follow it. Is that true for you, or is that not true because you're self above tribe? Like, how do you
It's
navigate that?
definitely weird. Like I am very aware of what other values are, and I will usually either buck them or like for an example, everyone does presents at like Christmas, and my family does a lot of presents. And so, but my husband didn't like how many presents, so we wrote letters to everyone saying like, hey, we're not doing gifts. If you want to give us gifts, give them us at a different time. And it was like a push of that. But I'm very aware of what everyone else is doing. But that was an instance where I was like, no, 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 my values make more sense to me, so I'm gonna do that. But other times, like I'm like, yeah, arriving at places at the correct time, that works for me. Like that's an expectation that I follow, you know.
I see the TI comes first before the values. So
Yeah.
if it doesn't work for you, you're not gonna follow it. But you try your best to accommodate, of course, from the sound of it.
I do, because I do want to, ultimately I want to give to the tribe. It's
Yeah.
just in my way.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, why don't we talk about that? So you're still a double decider, so you're balanced with self and tribe, even though you're double focused on self. You can still see the tribe's perspective, and as we mentioned, you know, you try to accommodate when you can. You know, so when does accommodating come in?
accommodating comes in. I am bitter about how much I accommodate, because I feel like I'm constantly being asked. I almost wish I wasn't so aware of the tribe. Um, Wait, can you ask your question again?
Yeah, no worries, feminine sensory. um, it's okay. So you're double decider, and because you're a double decider, you're still gonna be aware of the tribe needs, even though you're double activated sleep. So you're gonna be more self focus more on yourself as opposed to the typical, you know, ISFJ. But you're still double decider at the end of the day. So when does the accommodating kick in? Like you're like, okay, I should accommodate the tribe, even though you're play last.
Yeah, it really comes back to whether I'm going to get in trouble if I don't, or whether I'm going to be not in trouble, but whether I'm going to be seen in an unfavorable light if I don't. So it's like, sure, yes, I'll do this thing that everyone else is doing.
I see. So that's like the cutoff is if you're gonna get in trouble.
Yes.
If people are gonna get mad at you, do you still accommodate, or is that considered you getting into trouble, or not so much?
If people get mad at me, it just depends on how sure I am of the reasons, which is hard because I feel like I change so quickly
Right.
on my own reasons. It's really annoying where like I feel like anyone could convince me of it. I feel very gullible most of the time. I feel like you put me in front of one person who's saying X, and then this another person saying Y. And I'm like, who did I talk to last? Because I could see the reasons in both a lot of the time. So
You listen to the person you talked to last then.
I know it's really embarrassing. I hate it. And it was something that I was like not aware of until maybe even quite recently, just how much the tribe affects. It's like a mob mentality, you know. If there's more people going right, I'm like, well, maybe that's the best way to go, you
Yeah.
know.
That's funny. I've seen a lot of IPs doing that actually. So it's kind of
Okay.
interesting that you brought it up. Maybe it's a feminine DI of yours. So you're like, oh, whatever, I'm flexible, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's cover your third animal now, which is consume, and your consume is NT. So that's an interesting consume. So it's like problem solving and figuring things out in a consume state. So do you find yourself doing research when you need to solve a problem because it's in a
Yes.
consume state?
I do a lot of research. Everything from like if I want to find the best way to composting, I get textbooks. If I want to find the best way to study astrology, I get textbooks. It's like I'm known for just doing that, which is weird though, because people would compliment me on that. And I'm thinking like, it's really not, I can only consume for like a short stint and then I need to go do something else. So it's like read for 15 minutes, then go do something else. Like do a short video, like watch a short video and then go do something else. Like I get fidgety. Um,
Yeah, but you're doing it. That's the thing, I think, because like
yeah, that's true.
the consume last ISFJs are not even doing that, right? So
Mm.
I mean, and the ones who are not aware, I guess that once you get type as consume last, you're like, oh, maybe I should be doing this consume thing.
Yeah.
Do you find consume difficult still? Because as an ISFJ, technically consume should be your fort, like the hardest.
Okay.
This consume is correlated with being EP. So, you know, as an IJ, EP is your opposite. So when you're researching for self or gathering for self, that should be the most challenging thing. But what is your perspective on that?
Yeah, if I'm really, really, really interested, that can fuel that. But if I'm not interested, like even listening to people is hard because one, I want to go process it. But like also like it's just, and I don't even think like it's something like ADD or something. It's just like I don't know if it's that blast over consume where I'd rather talk about what I think your thoughts are interesting. I want to talk about them now, you know?
Right. I mean, I think a lot of people with NE can have ADD, so it's like a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So your consume is a hobby, so I guess you do it for fun here and there, but it's not like your go-to. But because it's using your extrovert intuition, do you feel triggered sometimes when you're researching? Like, is there a part of you that gets triggered?
Like I get scared because I've researched like something on death or something.
Yeah, I guess that's your version. You're an IJ, so we could talk about that in a second. So yeah, you found out about something that's really chaotic, something that is like really scary. And then now you're freaked out because you're an IJ, right? So yeah, can you talk about that a little bit when you discovered
Yeah,
those?
like I don't like reading the news or stuff like that because if there's like a, just can that happen to me type of thing. Um, but I do like the rush kind of that of my world being expanded. That feels like fun because it feels like a scary roller coaster, but
Yeah,
ultimately like I want it,
yeah.
So
Yeah, I can see that being fun for IJs because my girlfriend's an IJ. She's an INTJ jumper, and it takes me so long to get her to try something new. But when she does, it's like crack, like her eyes lights up. Oh my god, should have done this sooner, you know.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
definitely weird with the IJs when like usually the EPs drag them to do something new. It takes them a long time to get dragged, but once they do, they're like, should have told me sooner. I'm like, what? Yeah, I've been telling you for years, you know.
mhm,
Yeah. And I think the other thing that you mentioned too about discovering like chaos. I work in fitness, so one of my clients is a play last INTJ, and it keeps telling me about like the upcoming apocalypse, which is sound super crazy. This guy has a PhD, but he's crazy about like the apocalypse, so it's really weird.
it is
So,
weird.
so yeah, it is weird. But it is what it is. I guess when you're an IJ, you have your version of crazy. So let's talk about
Yeah.
that. So you're an IJ. What is your version of crazy? Like crazy, like, oh, the world's gonna fall apart or something bad's gonna happen.
Oh, I don't think I have any weird theories about the world. Yeah, I don't know if I have any weird theories about the.
Okay, what are you scared of? What kind of chaos are you scared of with that
Oh,
NE?
just death.
Oh, death. Okay.
Death to me is the ultimate. I don't know if it's the ultimate chaos, but no, I'm scared of even like someone coming into not actually like coming in like a robber or something, but just like knocking on my door when I don't expect it, like that, or like a change of plans last minute. I'm kind of like I get no, I don't like that either.
I see.
I mean, I'll go with it, but I'm not happy.
Well, the fear of death is normal. I don't think that's you
That's
being
yeah,
weird.
that's probably true.
I think I don't know. I think most people are scared of dying, of course. The change thing is kind of like a normal IJ thing too. I just don't like
Mm,
change. You got to give them a heads up before you change anything. But why don't we talk about the last animal then? Because it sounds like based on our conversation right now, a lot of your problems is coming from the tribe.
yeah.
So your last animals is play. It's double masculine NF play, which makes it even more interesting because it's double masculine. Um, that means you're aware of it. You know, whether you like it or not, even if you avoid it, you're aware of it because it's double masculine. Let's start first by the chaos the tribe is causing you. So it sounds like because your consume is above your play, that the consume from what you research is not as bad as the chaos that the tribe brings. Can you talk about, you know, you feeling triggered by the chaos that the tribe brings?
Like, I notice it really when I look back at my past, where I had a really, really rigid set of beliefs, and I was afraid to talk to people who did not hold most of those beliefs. So it was almost like I was going to be polluted by them or somehow, and then I was going to get some sort of consequences that I could not name for believing the wrong thing, because my beliefs are are probably like one of the most precious things to me. And so there was like a fear of just like talking. I mean, now that I see it, it's like so much better. But even just like I look like a deer in headlights when I leave my house. Like I'm just ready all the time. And especially around people. Yeah.
So part of your play is NF, like that flavor, NF specifically. So NF is correlated with what's the point or your life mission or your purpose. Do you find yourself struggling with meaning and purpose, being NF last, like working for something bigger than yourself,
That's not like a human thing.
No,
Just finding purpose.
Lead NF people, they find their purpose quick, like
oh, I see what you're saying.
Like Dave, for example, he's lead NF, right? So
yeah,
he always knows.
No, I don't really know what that's a big question. I would have to think about that, whether like I struggle to find purpose. It might just be like, or it's just something that is like so, maybe that's so big I'm not even like attempting to think about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense.
And your specific NF is tribe related, and your tribe is fourth, right? So for you to find it, you need to be with a tribe a lot, which is kind of
yeah,
kind of gonna be tough for sure. I mean, I think as you get older, obviously it's gonna get better, and yours is double masculine. So I think once you find it, you're gonna lock onto it very confidently because it's double masculine. So I guess once you jump into like the cold water, I guess that's the best way to describe it, then that's when you can lock into it.
Yeah, I definitely relate to like finding a specific like niche of something and serving the tribe like that way. But it's going to be weird. It's not going to be in a spotlight or,
yeah, I mean,
it'll be like a cog or something.
Yeah, it'll be awkward for sure because it's play last, but you'll I think you'll pull it off, and I think you'll get a good sense of satisfaction when you start chipping away at it. So your play is also NEFE, so that means you like to get, that means, I mean, not like, but when you do talk to the tribe, do you find yourself wanting to find out what people are up to, like what their goal is, their purpose, their mission? Is that something that you, once you do get started in the play, is that something that you are interested in learning about other people? Like especially
I like listening to other people talk a lot. I'm sure that's in there. I like hearing people's experiences and their stories, and especially their perspective. I'm very into people's perspectives and finding out like what is life like from you, because it's very different than it is from me.
I see. And how much time do you need to before that kicks in, where you can get in that conversation with someone where you're sharing about your goals and aspirations and whatnot?
Oh, I would need to know them pretty well. I don't know if I'm pretty open. If someone asks me that, like in a conversation and wants to go deep quick, I'm all about that.
I see.
I want depth. Yeah. But I will not put that on them first. I'll like feel it out,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess with family and friends, it's quicker.
Yeah. Or just people, or if it could be a stranger, just if I'm interested in you, or if I want to do a deep dive, then it's almost like for the information. I'll do a lot. I'll get really awkward if I feel like you have good information, and I'll just be like, so boom, I'm just gonna ask that right now.
Yeah.
And like I know That's a very vulnerable question. I'm sorry, but please answer me.
Yeah. And then the lead plays like, yeah, let's do it. So,
Yeah.
okay. Let's talk about you being info dominant. So play last means you're info dominant. So you will blast and you will also consume. So blast verifies if your information is correct, like if it actually works or not, right? And then consume obviously is to validate, to make sure what you know is also accurate, because you check first before you execute it, right? Can you talk about being info dominant and the obsession with accuracy of information?
Definitely. I love information, and even after like learning about the system and being typed, I'm finding how much the people who I find the easiest to talk to are all info dumps,
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, what am I saying? What are you saying? And it's like taken seriously. Like it's not like blown off, or they're not flipping about information. And so that's been really nice, just being like, oh, okay, it's not like you're not disrespecting, you're just an energy dump. Like it's fine. You're not. If you're not taking seriously what I'm saying, that's fine. So, but yeah, and it's funny, I've always said, even like young, like just that I love data. Like I use that word like all the time, when referring to people, when referring to things, just like give me more. If I truly believe that if I had enough data, I could solve everything.
That's probably true.
If I could find patterns, and I could just like, yeah. So
you're probably right. If you have enough information, you could solve most problems.
yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to what you said though, because like working in fitness for me, a lot of my clients are IJ and play last, and it takes me a while to talk to them. Like I've had clients where it took me like 1 month before they start talking to me, just like of the play last thing. But once they get going, exchanging the information, they get really into it, But when it comes to goofing around, it's a little bit harder with the play last,
Yeah.
because of the, you want the information exchange, not like the energy exchange. So I guess that's where the trouble is, which leads me to my next question. How do you kill the vibe being play last and being obsessed with information when it's time to play instead?
Do I know that I'm doing it?
Yeah.
Have I done it here?
What's that?
Have I done it here? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Are you
That
not
would be
aware of
fun to
it?
see.
Like when it happens, are you not aware? Like, do you not feel, because you have FE, right? So don't you feel like the vibe shifted? Like someone, like a tribe member trying to play with you, trying to be goofy and stuff, and you're just like stone face, and
Yeah, it's really awkward. I feel awkward, and then I feel bad for just making it awkward. I don't know if I have like a specific instance though, but it's kind of like I take the conversation down a little bit too quickly.
yeah, too serious, right?
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, so what are you like? I'm excited about it. I'm like, what are you saying? And it's that's not a joke anymore. It's just like, that's cool. But
Right.
yeah.
Well, I did an interview with the ESTPs not too long ago, and I noticed with the info dominant ESTP would play first, they will joke a little bit. So they'll give the tribe like a nugget of like, energy, fun, but then they'll go straight to the information after. But so it's a little bit different from the play last. Well, so they're still serious with the info, but they'll throw a joke. They'll do a little bit of like energy exchange first, just a small one before you go straight to the information.
Yeah, I think it also might be hard for me to see, because I think what I'm doing is like, I don't know if this is masculine FE, but I think what I'm doing is right. So like, it's like if I did go for the information, that was the best thing to do. And
Yeah.
so that's not bad. I didn't kill anything.
Well, I mean, like usually when people meet, right, like they have like small talk and they greet
Yes.
each other, so
I
that's
hate
kind
small
of,
talk.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like play, that's like FE, right?
Yeah.
Then after you do a little bit of that, then that's we can dive into the information. But if you go straight for the information, then you kill the vibe,
Yes, I now see what you're saying. Yeah, in terms of like small talk, I will often, it's just like a thing, especially if like I'm walking next to someone and there's a lot of this if they can't see me, because like we're talking about the weather. I don't know, talking about your doctor's appointments or like stuff like that, and I want more,
Yeah.
So
Okay. Got it. Well,
yeah.
I guess you are aware that it's happening.
Yeah, but yeah, to me, it's small talk is almost like now it's become like a rite of, not a rite of, like a price something you pay, like the pay of a passage pay, or I don't even know what word, like a toll. It's like the toll I have to do to like to have good conversation. It's like
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, I get that. That's how people work. I'll do that, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of normal. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't just jump in, you need to have like 15 minutes of small talk before you jump in, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so just like the sleep loss, your fellow info dominant, like myself, play loss also lose a lot of energy. So I noticed that play loss people um tend to be workaholics as well. It's kind of weird. I don't know if you relate with that sentiment though, but I've seen a lot of play loss people being workaholic. Obviously, they prefer to work by themselves, but you still work. Can you talk about that for?
Yeah, I definitely have had to learn how to shut off. I mean, it's a bit harder to see for me because I don't work. Well, I do work. I'm a mom, totally working. But like it's not like which is like even worse in some cases because there's always stuff to do. I'm not leaving an office, you know, where that I can then take it home. It's just like I need to like stop at a certain point and relax. And I've gotten way better at that. But like I totally would burn myself out in my 20s, just like all the time, just because it was nonstop. Like something can be fixed, something can be done. I can get ahead on something, you know.
Right.
So
Right. Um, Part of the play last problem too, which I've heard some play last people talk about, is they lose energy because they try to put a facade on when they're dealing with a tribe. So maybe the word facade is not the best word, but for some play last people, if they're not putting a facade, at the very least, they only put their best self forward,
yes,
which is exhausting. Because
yes,
you're not always in your best self, like
yes.
you have bad days, right? So can you talk about losing energy by always putting your best self forward at all times when presenting
Yeah,
yourself?
it's incredible just in terms of I will be in a horrible mood and no one, well, people can probably figure it out, but I think that what I'm doing is not letting them know. And it is downright like if I'm in a bad mood and I'm like trying to like put my best self forward, it gets physically painful. Like it feels like someone's stabbing me over and over and over again with a tiny needle, like just all over my body because it's like I am just like on empty and yet I can't let that down, I guess. And I'm not like doing it to be off-putting or to be mean or whatever. It's just like I don't know how else to show up here, you know. So
Why can't you put it down? Just curious.
I don't know. Maybe it's like I don't, I think it might be just, I get your emotions, I get your concern, and I'm in pain right now. That might actually be healing for me. But initially, I'm like, don't look at me, you know, like, and instead, like me, again, like putting it, it puts me in, for me, it's probably isn't the case, but emotions feel like they put me in the spotlight. And so to like show emotions that I can't have reasons for, I can't explain, or just like that I don't even know how to explain. Um, it feels very much like I'm putting myself on a spotlight, and that I want to be prepared for that. That's hard, you know.
Is that also not wanting to look weak? Also, like you don't.
Possibly, yeah, yeah. Crying. I don't cry in public. I kind of wish. I think I'd be healthier if I could, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I think the people who are like a faucet, walking faucet, they're probably like very healthy. You know.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not for everyone else, but for them, but they feel fine. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. All right. That's kind of funny. Um. So from what I can tell, what is the fear of coming across as weak to the tribe? Like if you cried, in not maybe not even crying, like if you just disclose to someone, hey, I'm not having a good day today, just don't mind me, like and so instead of like putting on that best front forward, that best
Hmm.
self forward, and trying to make sure that everything is okay, the saying is like it's okay not to be okay, you know
Yes. Yeah.
so so what is the fear of just doing that, like just being okay with not being okay, and just and communicating that to the tribe? Just tell them, it's like, hey, just I'm not having a great day today, I just don't mind me, like.
Yeah. No, it's something that I do a little bit more now, especially when I know that the person is safe. Um, yeah, I think like what I said is just like it's like I mean, this is kind of cliche, but you're vulnerable, and then the person, like, you've made yourself more vulnerable and then more open, and then the person doesn't comfort you. So it's like, I think this is probably a projection where like my own like lack of like my own desire to be more empathetic is probably being mirrored back to me. And so I think that they're not going to be empathetic if I open up, you know.
You want them to be empathetic if you open up?
I would, like, I want them to care for me if I open up.
Right. So that's the extrovert feeling then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the introvert feeling, they're like, I'm not feeling good, but I don't want to talk about it, and I don't want you to make me feel better, So it's
Yeah. No, I want to be, but the terrifying thought is like, what if you don't want to, you know? And
well,
then, but I think this, I don't like this thinking. It's still in me though, you know?
well, it depends on your audience, right? So if you're talking to someone that has extrovert thinking, they're gonna try to solve your problem when you really want
Yeah.
like, a listening ear or someone to just empathize, right? So it's
Yeah.
yeah. So I think you would have to communicate that. Like if you know your family member or friend is like a TE, you were like, yeah, I'm not feeling good right now, but I don't need solutions, I just want like
Yeah, I should just like, I need to have everyone typed around me perfectly. And like, hey, extroverted feelers, come listen to me. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like introvert feelers and extrovert thinkers cannot empathize. They can, for
Yeah.
sure. It's just that
Yeah.
you have to tell them, because otherwise they're gonna go into problem-solving mode, right? So
Mhm.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, that's cool. Well, that's good to learn more about you, about like how this play last thing works. It's very
Mm.
interesting, that's why your type is quite rare, because play last and you're like an ISFJ jumper. Those are like the super rare combinations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make you feel good knowing that your type is super rare, in the community?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. What part of it, like you're like, yeah,
I
unique?
don't know. I've always wanted to be rare, but like not stick out, which is a really hard dichotomy.
Yeah.
But it's also a bit affirming. Um, it is super nice because I've tried using other people's common solutions to fix my problems. And now I can like, now it's like more firm, like maybe you just need to go find your own solution
Yeah.
because you're weird, and like
Exactly.
that encourages me to like be more creative instead of being like, this won't fit, I don't like this, I don't like this, so
Yeah. So I guess for you, it validates the fact that your solution is not going to look anywhere near what other people have, because
yeah.
you have a unique combination of personality.
Hmm.
Let's talk about your sexual modalities. You are visual and tester. Talk about being the visual side first, like learning through seeing and whatnot, memory through seeing as well.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that is how I remember things, as I'm looking at them. I also like when I daydream, I'm there. It's it's all it's just I'm there. It's almost like I stop seeing what my eyes are seeing and I'm seeing what's inside here. And can kind of like not remember what happened in front of me. Um, I'm really good with like spatial stuff too. I don't know if that's a part of visual, but like being able to like reorganize things and moving things in my head is super easy and fun. And I enjoy that.
Yeah, maybe I'm not visual, so I don't know. I can't
Okay.
I can barely visualize things.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird with other types. Um, you're also a tester, so testers correlate with smell, which is also taste. Can you talk about having your favorite smells, favorite tastes, favorite food?
I do. I've picked a lot of the flowers in my yard simply based off of their smell. And I have, it's very, very true from memory too. Like I can be somewhere and smell something and then I'm back where I first smelled it. And it can almost reignite memories that I thought I lost just because of that. And yeah, I think that makes sense.
There's a big difference between testers with SI and SE. So
Interesting.
it sounds like from the SI perspective, you have like your favorites, but the SE, they have to smell everything or taste everything, even if it smells bad. It's kind of crazy. You know, I know it sounds nuts. They're like, oh, it smells so bad, but I have to take a whiff. You know, so it's kind of weird. But you know, I like those weird nuances. Like it's like, oh, you know, you just need to be based on your specific type, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll notice that now with your family member with extrovert sensing with tester. They're like, oh my god, they're so weird. They have to smell everything, you know. Okay. I'm trying to think. I think we've covered everything already. So why don't we cover the last part then? Extrovert intuition. This is your triggering function. Is the NE at the bottom. Can you talk about your fear of chaos a little bit? And when you learn that you were an IJ and your fear of chaos is just like an IJ thing, so it's not really real because other types are not scared of it. So if they experience the same thing as you, they would not freak out at all, especially the double observers. Now that you know that that is the case, how does that change anything? You know, when you do freak out about chaos?
Yeah, I didn't think that I connected that all the reasons why I try and like be prepared or to plan ahead is to avoid that chaos. It's like I'm gonna try and be on time for this so I don't get harried and so something can't come up last minute. There's stuff like that. I have, how else do I? Yeah, I mean, just I think that's the deer in headlights thing in general. If if there's a loud noise, I jump. Um, I I also have like it's interesting to me like hearing about that because I have a lot of chaos, but it all fits in my box in terms of like I had 6 kids in less than 10 years.
Really?
And so like my house is just it's fine though because it's in my house and I chose to homeschool them, which is even more chaotic, but like it's still all fine because I don't want to be beholden to someone a bus schedule. That sounds chaotic. Like having to talk to principals, that sounds chaotic. I don't like I just don't know. There's so many like unknowns. It's like if there's too many unknowns, I just don't want to do it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's tribe related too, because like I've never heard anyone bring up the principal, you know, like I have to talk to a principal, like I have to talk to the tribe. I don't know what chaos the tribe's gonna tell me, you know.
Yeah.
So, it's also interesting your play last and you have a big tribe in your house. So it's a weird almost what's the word I'm looking for? Contradiction almost, like your play last.
Yeah.
You deep down inside, I guess you want a big tribe. Um
Yeah, I wonder if I did it that way just to fulfill that need because again, it's complicated, you know.
yeah.
But
So lately in the classes, Dave and Shan have been saying that EPs and IJs are pretty much the same, and IPs and EJs are pretty much the same. You're either a decider or an observer, depending where you are on the swing, and you're going to be swinging back and forth between, you know, chaos and control, right? So, what does your EP swing look like? Like, what happens when you become the chaos, you know, and you're the one causing the chaos? Like, what does that look like? When
yeah,
you,
lots of times it looks as like crazy projects. Like there was this one time where like I had an idea. So with 6 kids in tow, I like built a 14 by 14 ice skating rink in my backyard, like in an afternoon. And that was crazy, you know, like dinner didn't get made, or I don't even, you know, like that to me, like it's normally, or like I'll go, like I wanted chickens. So I went and I bought 20 chickens, but I didn't have a coop. So I just grew these chickens in my basement in like suburbia because that's crazy. And so it was chaos just like in my basement for 4 months until we built the coop. Um, and and then the chaos scares me where like sometimes if like I feel like I'm being too reckless on a day-to-day basis, like this doesn't happen so much now, but like I would wake up in the middle of the night just like scared, being like, you can't keep doing this. Like you're breaking like the I need stability ultimately, you know, but at the same time, stability is boring and I want to break it
right,
because
right,
that's fun, you
yeah.
know. And so it's constant, even by like a day to day where it's like I'm bored. Let's go do something like crazy and fun. Let's all go here. Let's, you know. Um, but there are like more quieter seasons or more chaotic seasons of my life, just depending on where I'm at, you know, and what I want.
So I guess you became the crazy chicken lady for one at one point.
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Except no one could see them. They were in my basement.
Oh, I see.
But
Yeah.
now they can. Yeah.
Okay. And when you go on vacation, do you feel like you become an EP? You're like, nope, I'm not gonna plan anything. I'm gonna go wing it, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
no, we just got back from one and I just filled my day doing like random, I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna go do yoga and I'm gonna go paint and I'm gonna go is like dun, 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 just all because I could, right? I don't have all the same responsibilities, and it was just like a
did you
day
love it?
filled with random activities back to back. Um,
How did you feel when you were like, you were doing all this stuff?
I like they're things that I genuinely like. So overall, I really liked the change, and um, kind of by the end of the week, found myself getting into a routine with all these crazy things. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like the same thing that happens a lot of like ISFJs and ISTJs. It's like when they go on vacation, they're like a different person. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, so um yeah. So I guess it gives you like permission for that like one small bleep during the year to,
yeah,
just do whatever you feel like doing instead of like over planning, overthinking.
hmm
Yeah.
that
Uh,
makes sense. Yeah,
all right, cool. So I've asked all the questions, Jesse. So we'll wrap up the interview here. So
cool.
thanks for coming out and sharing more about yourself and your experiences as your specific type. So take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
Cool. Thank you.
See you.